Hello there and welcome to The Great Comeback. I am your host, Holly McClain, and I am coming to you live on WGSN-DB Going Solo Network, the #1 talk network out there. I'm a life coach and a counselor, and I help people come back from life's big shifts and upsets. So think big breakups, divorce, career changes, teenage struggles and confusion. So if it's a life transition that you're going through, together, you and I can master plan your comeback. On today's episode, we are talking with Lisa Oliver about how to bring deep purpose and joy into your life, especially when your life doesn't look exactly the way you want it to, or it isn't completely dialed in, or exactly staged the way that you want it to. Or maybe you're even in a space where things are crumbling down and crumbling away, which isn't necessarily a bad thing because you're just making space for your rebuild. So when you feel like you're kind of going through the motions and trying all the things or feeling stuck, how in the world do you still maintain that sense of meaning and purpose in your life as you're evolving? So before I formally share with you Lisa, I have to get personal and share with you who Lisa is with me. So when I was in my early 40s and I went through my divorce, I decided I was going to move up north. And Lisa was my realtor who helped me get settled. And I have to tell you, when melting down and crumbling down and going through all the things that divorce brings, we need an anchor, we need a support, we need a rock. And Lisa really served as that rock for me, because I was in a space where I had been married for almost 10 years. My ex-husband was my family, my life. We didn't have children. And now I'm in this space where I've been cut loose and everything is open. The wide world is open for me. Who knows what's next? One thing I knew for sure was that I needed my home base, so that I could restart my life from there. And Lisa literally took me under her wing. And I remember going through all kinds of turmoil, and I looked at a house and I said, yes, let's put an offer. And then I cried all the way home and I called her and I said, I don't know if this is the right thing. Maybe we should pull it back. I don't know. And Lisa's patience, she was like an angel. She said, I'm here to help you with this process. We will look at as many houses as it takes, put out as many offers as it takes to get you into the right space. So Lisa was pivotal in my transition from going through this divorce, messy mushiness, to getting my first stable piece of what I needed to rebuild and move forward. So Lisa is the perfect person to talk with us today about purpose and still living while you're rebuilding or melting down or going through all the things. So let me formally introduce Lisa to you first. My guest today is Lisa Oliver. Lisa was great. Oh, you're welcome. So Lisa Oliver was raised in Northern California by loving parents, and she graduated from Roseville High School locally here. She has 2 daughters who are her life, which she had at a very young age and was a single mom for many years. And then in 2010, she married her husband and gained a bonus daughter. And I'm lucky to know all of these girls. And Lisa shared a little bit about someone incredibly special in her life, who is her beloved grandma, Ruth. She was a favorite and one of the most influential people in Lisa's life. And unfortunately, she had passed a few years after Lisa was married, but it was actually Ruth's strong business sense and being such a business-minded woman that inspired Lisa to begin her career in real estate. And Lisa has since opened her own brokerage with her business partner in 2021. And Lisa loves being outside in nature. I'm actually part of her hiking group. Hiking, biking, paddling, boating, and sometimes just sitting in a comfy chair, having her morning coffee and zenning out and just kind of tapping into the world. So welcome to The Great Comeback, Lisa.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for inviting me, and thank you for the lovely introduction.
Oh, you are so welcome. I I like want to dive in and just talk for hours and hours with you. So I'm just going to jump in with like a big, massive question, and then I'll let you pick and pull like where you want to go with it. I want to talk about your magic. Like there's something different about you and what you do and how you treat people. And I feel like this has a lot to do with your deep sense of purpose and connection that is wound into like how you live your life and what you do. So I'd love for the listeners to hear what you do, how you do it, because the purpose and the service piece is critical.
Yeah. Okay. Well, when I decided to become a real estate agent, I had a little bit of a hard time deciding that career because I always thought of myself as a nurturer. I thought of myself as somebody that would just be there to help people. And I never thought of myself as, a business type person, not a salesperson. And so it was hard for me. I had to do a lot of meditating on it. I had to do a lot of praying on it. And I decided one day that I could be my own type of salesperson, and I could be service-based, and I could always take care of my client, advocate for my client, be there for my client, and always put my client first. And I felt like this industry, the real estate industry needed somebody that could do that. And there were definitely clients out there that would be drawn to somebody like me. So that's how I bring purpose and meaning into my career.
I love that, Lisa, because I know you and I have had lots of conversations around business. And just to give the listeners some perspective, Lisa is years ahead of me with her business. And so as I was contemplating mine and wanting to launch my practice, I really looked at Lisa and how she was doing her business to give me that additional piece, because oftentimes I think when we get into business or we look at like the work that we do, sometimes we separate it. It's like I get up in the morning, I go off to work, and then I come home, and then I get to be me. And I had done that a lot in my life, but seeing how you incorporated meditation and prayer into your business, and how you were making choices and decisions about growth and direction from like an inspired place, which ties into the name of the company.
Good job.
Yeah. I mean, it just clicked for a minute. And I'm like, yes, absolutely. But it's just how organically like you did things. And the most important piece for me, because I was on the receiving end, was being able to see how you treated me and handled me, because I thought of this as a business transaction. And honestly, like I would think back to other business transactions that I was a part of, or, being in the midst of the divorce process. It's a big business transaction. And I'm like, here is this professional, inspiring woman who's growing her business and practice. So not only am I on the receiving end of feeling like all that goodness that's coming from you, but I'm looking at like how you're doing business and how you're treating me. And it's just, I never thought the two things could go together. I thought I needed to make a decision about a house, and I needed to stick with that decision, and I needed to be a professional and step it up as I'm working with Lisa. And Lisa you were my guardian angel.
No.
I'm going to walk you through this transition, because like a coach, I remember telling you, you're like a real estate guidance coach. You're not a real estate There's coachy stuff going on here. Aww. Where, you're holding space for your clients, and you're allowing them to just be as you're guiding them through their next steps. And they're getting to choose and pick what feels right to them, the house that works for them.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, like what we do is very similar as we're guiding people through transition, because I mean, look at the transition that you're taking people through.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that I think I attract people that are going through transition in their life. And I sort of think that's by design, because that's who I want to attract. I want to be there to buffer some of that stress and pain and everything that people have to go through when they're making that change. Sometimes it's a super, super exciting change, and I love that, and it's super fun. And sometimes it is a painful change, and I feel like I'm really able to help when in either one of them. And I do attract a lot of people that have had a death in the family. I attract a lot of people who have going through divorce. I attract a lot of people that are leaving the state for some reason and making that big change. And it is definitely, I have to do a lot of buffering. But I am happy to be there to be able to do that. And I'm happy to be the one that they trusted, and I'm happy to offer that genuine care to them.
And you know what, Lisa, I believe, and you and I talked about this before, when you set an intention in your heart, like my heart is open, I want to support people, or I want to get single moms into homes and all the beautiful things, it puts it out into the universe, and then things just kind of circle back around. It's almost like the universe, God, hears your whisper in your heart, and then draws to you the people that are meant to come to you. Because I feel like with me, that's exactly what I needed. I needed at that time to be nurtured and cared for and guided.
Yeah.
And I got that in my real estate transaction.
Yay.
Which is incredible. And then, you know, I've seen, as you've shared too, people have come to you in their time of need, whether they need to sell a house because of a death or whatever is going on in their life situation. And it's just, I mean, it's almost like you have your wings open. Like you just literally take them underneath your angel wings, which is awesome.
That's very nice.
About too, as we're winding in, like purpose, because you and I had conversations before, because what you do is, you know, you're a businesswoman, it's a transaction. How did you, like, if you had to dial it down, like, how did you decide that you were going to integrate all this purpose into what you do? Like, how did you make that work without changing careers and becoming like an ER nurse or something, you know, totally different, where you were nurturing and giving in a different way?
Yeah. That's a good question, because I did struggle at first. I kind of tried real estate on a whim because my grandmother was in real estate, and I always looked at houses and I always talked about real estate to her. And she helped me buy my first house when I was 19, and I had a baby and I had a mortgage and I had a full-time job, and I was 19. And, you know, in several years, the equity in that house was, I basically sold the house for double what I bought it for. So I had a lot of equity. And so she put me in a really good position by helping me buy that house. Not a lot of young single moms can have that start. And it made a huge impact on my life. And so when she passed away, I told my husband, I said, I should have done real estate with Graham when she was alive. I would have enjoyed that. She would have enjoyed that. And he said, well, wish in one hand and shit in another and see which one fills up faster.
Oh my gosh.
And those words of wisdom helped me decide, you know what, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to try it and see what happens. And I did. And I did. I enjoyed it a lot. And then I started to think, but you know, I was on a great team. I learned a lot from my mentor, and but I felt like a little bit something was missing still. And it was the piece that I really needed, which was that not being so transactional, but being more, just being more client based and being more, more of a guidance counselor for my clients, and more one-on-one time. And so, so it took me, it wasn't like I started out feeling this. I kind of felt like something was missing. And I thought, okay, how can I correct this? How can I add this meaning into my career? Because I really like my career. That's just the one thing that's missing. And I decided that's how I can just be that person that certain people are needing. I can, when I have a decision to make, I can always say, okay, how am I going to advocate best for my client? How am I going to be there for them? And then also, understand that they're going through a really big deal. It's a really big deal. Like I do it every day, but for them, it's huge. And it's not every day. It's a major milestone in their life. And so kind of understanding that and kind of being there for them to explain everything and be there all night, whatever they need, I try to just be there because I never want somebody up at night and they have a question and they're like, oh, I have to wait until 9:00 in the morning to text Lisa, and then they're worried about it all night and they can't sleep or whatever. I'd rather than just talk to me and then we can get through it and then they can sleep well. And I just kind of realized that there was a place for someone like me in this. And then I decided that instead of just kind of having that in the back of my mind, to really focus my whole business on that.
I love that. I love that. And there was a point where you said you felt like something was missing because you had your mentorship and you were learning the ropes. Mm-hmm. And then it's almost like once you kind of start to know and get your feet about you, then you can start to customize things. And you got to this point where you said something was missing. If we could drill down on that, this is where it gets sticky. And I'll be honest, this is where it gets sticky for me too. I feel that something is missing. And then how do I figure out what that missing piece is all about? Are there certain practices that you have or things that you do to try to get that answer for yourself?
Yes. It's weird though.
Tell us if it's weird, we want to know about it.
I have a yoga mat in my room at all times. I put it down in the morning while my husband's at work and my kids are sleeping, and my yoga mat is down and my vision boards are all around me. And sometimes I have a candle burning and I'm playing high vibrational music, and I have a notebook out and I'm just meditating. If I'm feeling in a funk, I'll start out by writing down what I'm grateful for and all of the blessings that I have in my life. And that brings me up. Almost every page of that is the same because I'm always grateful for the same thing, but I write it down again and it kind of elevates my mood and my energy. And then I just kind of ask the question, what am I supposed to be doing? Please guide me, show me what I'm supposed to be doing. And then sometimes I'll write whatever I'm feeling or thinking at the time, and I'll just ask for a sign. Please show me what I'm supposed to do. If I'm not getting it, if I'm being dense and I can't get it, just give me a little bit bigger of a sign. And if I'm stubborn, just keep on it. I'll get it one day. And I don't do that as much anymore because I really feel like I'm doing what I should be doing. And I really feel like I am growing the way that I need to be growing. And I'm happy. I'm really happy. And I'm really happy in my work. I'm really happy in my family. The only thing that makes me unhappy is when I get scared that I'm going to lose everything I have. Um, but that's how.
Oh, I just said the
What'd
fear,
you say,
the
Holly?
fear creeps in. It's normal.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's how I did it. That's how I do it. That's what I recommend to people when they're having a tough choice is just, just get yourself in that zone of acceptance, that you're going to accept the signs that come to you. Truly believe the signs are out there and, just put yourself in that kind of higher mental state.
Yeah. It's like you're dropping into a space that's not just the 3D of what we're experiencing in our daily life, but you're dropping into your faith and your belief, whatever that may be. I love the process that you just shared with me, because you and I have not talked specifics about that. I'm going to steal some of those. I invite anybody listening to steal some of those, because essentially you have a ritual, which is what I preach often. Have a ritual, have a space, create a beautiful altar or a little visual, like with your candle, to get you into that space, that heart space, that mind space and body space. And then you kind of surrender and see what comes and look for the signs, and beautiful things can happen over time. And sometimes it takes a moment, and sometimes it takes weeks. Sometimes I'm in this for weeks and I'm like, show me the sign, like loud and clear. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Lisa, for sharing that. We have to take a quick break.
Okay.
So please, nobody go anywhere. We will be back with more from Lisa Oliver.
Thank you.
We're back. Okay, so we left off with Lisa sharing with us what she does when you're in that space and you feel like there's something missing, or there's a little something that needs to be there and you can't quite figure it out with your brain, like what's next? What do I do? What's that piece that I need to integrate? And Lisa shared with us her practice of getting her into that space. So I encourage you to give some of those pieces a try, or just use Lisa's formula and do that, because I know I'm going to be integrating some things in as well. Okay, so Lisa, question for you. I know that when someone goes through a transition, whether it's a happy transition, it's like, oh my gosh, we're buying our first house and all the things and we're super excited, or it's something similar to mine where it's like I'm going through a divorce and I need a place to land and I need something to make me feel safe and secure, or there's, death in the family, etc. Clients need to be held and nurtured and supported through that process. And I know you've done some pretty creative things with your clients to help support them and grow them and nurture them through this whole process that is just more than simply, here's a transaction, I'm going to support you this way, and then here's your house, here's the keys, bye-bye. So would you be open to sharing a scenario or two of how you've supported someone in a unique way when they really need
it? Well, let me think for a minute. There was a young girl, and she called me off of Zillow, which Zillow is a very in real estate, there's cold leads and there's warm leads, and Zillow is a very cold type of lead. And so she called me and she needed help. She had just moved into a rental. She was having a baby. She was kind of at a loss. She just moved in, and the owners wanted to sell the property, and she didn't think that she could afford it. She went through one lender, and they couldn't qualify her to afford what they wanted for it. So she was looking for something else. She thought, I really love the property that I'm at. I wish I could buy it, but I can't. So let's go look at some other things. I said, well, what's the property that you're in? Like, if you really want that one, let's try to do that. And I said, let's check with another lender, see if they have more programs, more options for you. Let's see if the owner is willing to negotiate a little bit with you. So actually I did get her in touch with a lender that was able to qualify her for not exactly what the owner wanted, but close. So we tried to negotiate with the owner to get her in, which he finally accepted. He did not want to pay for a real estate agent to be involved, but I did not want to leave her side. So, I helped her anyway. And all of her friends were like, I wouldn't trust that girl because
like she didn't know you from anyone because of Zillow. Right?
Nobody does that. Nobody does that. And so I was like, it's okay. I understand why they're leery of me, but, there's a lot of paperwork involved. There's a lot of disclosures involved. You want to make sure you have everything done right. And I'm happy to do it. And so, we did it, and she closed escrow, and it was really stressful for her. The owner wasn't making it very easy on her. But we got through it, and it was an amazing property. It was a house with a guest house, and she was renting out the guest house. And when they bought it, she was going to move into the main house and then rent out the guest house. But she decided that she was going to turn this into a business opportunity, and she stayed in the guest house that she was in, and she rents out the main house in the Airbnb, and she makes not only enough to cover her mortgage, but enough to give her a small salary on it. And she has a little art studio, and she's got 2 babies now, so she gets to manage that, have her art studio, raise her babies, and she's doing great. And I'm so proud. I'm really proud of that one because it was pretty awesome.
Lisa, that's huge.
Yeah.
And she has her place that she owns, and she has a business, and she has, semi-passive income coming in. She can live her life and be a mom and have her studio going and all the things. And oh my God. Yeah. And you waived your fee because you were like, I'm not going to let this girl just flounder with all this paperwork.
Yeah.
Oh my, see, I love that. See, what's interesting for people to hear and know is that, originally we start this conversation with, you're in real estate and this is very transactional. It's a business oriented. look at what you're able to do once you wind your purpose of supporting other people into your own business. So sometimes when we go through life transition or career transition's a big one, we think we have to throw the baby out with the bathwater. Like, oh my gosh, like how can I be of service and how can my heart feel good in the career that I'm in? I have to turn it all upside down and have to go in a totally different direction and become, you know, something else that sounds like a traditional version of helping and supporting people. But look at what you were able to do and wind your purpose into your work. You didn't have to go do this big revamping of your entire life. And you got to work and play on like what your strengths are. I mean, this is your jam, this is your business, and you're able to wind in the purpose piece. I love that.
It's amazing. It feels really good. And so now I try to do like one a year that's just helpful.
That's awesome when you get to in that point in your business where you're able to do either like some pro bono or do some additional support like in the community or on the side, and just kind of adds that little boost to it. And I'm not surprised, like the way that you have your process in the morning and your ritual, you're calling in, by doing that, you're calling in the people that you want to serve.
Yeah.
And you want to help.
Yeah, I believe that.
Yeah. And once you start looking at it too from that lens, because a lot of it is perspective. It's kind of like when you said, okay, Holly, I decided these are the people that I want to serve. It's almost like your lens, your glasses, you're looking through a lens of wanting to support people in transition, and you're going, oh my gosh, yes, this is a life transition. I am helping them in this way.
Yeah.
And the attitude has so much to do with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I encourage those of you who are listening out there, when you are in a space and you're thinking, this isn't the career I want, this isn't the job I want. In the meantime, yeah, maybe you do want to make a big shift, or maybe you just want to incorporate other pieces of who you are into the mix. Lesson number one.
When I started kind of feeling like I needed more in my life, I kind of came to a realization also that I didn't have to have a career doing that. I didn't have to be paid doing that. So if you have a job that is paying your bills and you're good at it and you don't want to give it up, but you feel like you need meaning in your life, you could always add something else. You could do a volunteer, or you could, start a group where you're there to help people that you don't get paid for while you're maintaining what pays your bills. So that was kind of a big aha moment for me too, was when I decided, you know what, I could do real estate and be a salesperson, and I could do something else that I could help people with and not get paid for it. And then that's okay. You don't have to get paid for the thing that you feel you need to be doing, But then I was able to incorporate the two, which was great for me. But if you can't, if you have a job that you can't, then just add something that makes you happy.
I love that, because sometimes our brains think, oh my God, okay, we have to merge it. We have to make it work. No, you can step outside of your brain and look at it a little bit differently and mix it up and put it together the way that it best serves you. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Lisa. Oh my goodness. I so appreciate you being here and sharing your wisdom and your guidance with us.
I appreciate you inviting me. I feel very honored and blessed to be on your show.
Oh, thank you, my friend. Thank you. And I want you to share with us how listeners can get in touch with you. We're going to put it up on the screen, but if you could say it out loud for those that are listening to the audio, that would be great.
Sure. So my real estate brokerage is called Inspired Real Estate Group Inc.com. We're located in Roseville, California. And my phone number is 916-580-9403. And I'm available by phone or by text almost every day. Sundays, I don't get back to people right away, but I will get back to you by the end of the day. Yeah, so I'd be happy to talk through anything with anybody that's having any questions.
That's awesome. And I know, Lisa, you've been excellent with, like, whether people are working with you or not, sharing information, talking with them, guiding them in their transition in their home process. So thank you, Lisa. And thank you to our listeners for joining us in the conversation today. This episode was sponsored by the 6-Week Comeback, which is 6 weeks of one-on-one coaching with me, where I coach you to a place of clarity, confidence, and belief in yourself as you create the next best chapter in your life. You can get in touch with me by going to hollymcclaincoaching.com. And a final thank you to Cece, my amazing producer who works her magic on the back end to make this show possible and amazing. Please join me next time. Have a great rest of your week and be well.
Thank you, Holly.